A Norwegian woman who reported she was raped while in Dubai has been sentenced to 16 months in jail. Marta Deborah Dalev was on a business trip in the United Arab Emirates when she reported her assault to local police. The police, however, did not believe her and instead took her passport and jailed her on suspicion of having had sex outside of marriage. Just before she was sentenced, she spoke out about what happened.
I woke up and realised I was being raped, and I went down to the lobby and I asked them to call the police for me. They asked me, "Are you sure you want to call the police?" And I thought, of course I want to call the police. That's a natural reaction where I'm from.
Well, Rori Donaghy is a campaigns manager for the London-based Emirates Centre for Human Rights. I spoke to him a little while ago and I asked him what he thought of that comment there of when she wanted to go to police.
I think that is indicative of people being aware that the law criminalises rape victims rather than protecting them. When women report cases of rape, they are very often charged with having had sex outside marriage. And that's why she'd have been asked this. If the burden of proof is so heavy on women to prove the rape has taken place that it's almost impossible to do so, and they very often become victims of prosecution themselves.
Rori, we're going to talk about some of the other cases that have happened in the UAE, but let's talk about Marta's case first. What can you tell us there?
Marta has been charged with having sex outside marriage for perjury, drinking alcohol, and I think a couple of other things. It's deeply concerning that 4 days after having reported the rape, she was charged and had her passport seized and her money taken away from her and wasn't in contact with anyone. She was treated like she was a criminal rather than a victim of a serious sexual violence crime.
Now, this isn't the first time it's happened, has it, in the UAE?
No, there's a long case history of people being treated this way. There was an Australian lady who reported having been raped by several men and was sentenced to 11 months in prison. British lady, something similar. Even an 18-year-old Emirati woman suffered a similar fate after having reported rape. The law requires either a confession from the perpetrator or 4 adult male witnesses to be present at the time of the crime in order for someone to be prosecuted.
What reforms do you believe need to take place?
I think that whilst this law is not unusual in the region, the UAE's public commitment to gender equality is breaking the mould. For them to uphold that, they need to remove the stigma that's attached to rape in terms of a woman's morality. They need to change the law so that when a woman reports rape, she isn't charged with a crime herself. They also need to make sure that consensual sex between adults in a private setting is legal and not a criminal offence, because that's the law that people are being charged with when they report a rape incident.
In terms of Marta herself, what should happen to her case, do you think?
She has her appeal in September. We're going to be trying to support her in finding a good lawyer, and we hope that her sentence is quashed. She is allowed to return home. She was only supposed to be there for a business trip. And we would call on the authorities to hold the perpetrator to account beyond the 13-month prison sentence that he has received at the moment.
Rori Donaghy speaking to me there. Well, do stay with us here on BBC News, because still to come,